Oh, yes. Hello, 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 and welcome. I am Mark Tashazol, and oh god, my eyes are fucking purple here. This is all too often a problem. So you're probably wondering, okay, what's this all about? Well, I figure it's time for my usual annual updates. So this will be 2025 update. That's what you're wearing, right? 2025, yeah. And here we go. Now we are in a very interesting locality right now. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring you guys here is because something very interesting happened. I can't say recently because this technically happened quite a few months ago. I just recently remembered it because of a screenshot I took of this very particular event. So this world is called Idle Terrarium. And now, some of you probably are pretty familiar with what my Escapes miniseries logo looks like. And in case you don't, that is what it looks like. And hopefully I actually put in a thing right there to show you what it looks like. Great. We're just going to assume that happened and that worked out. So there it is. And we're just going to hold it here for a second because I want to show you something just absolutely incredible. Now, I have a question for you. What is the likelihood of me happening to stumble upon a VRChat world, to which there are thousands, by the way, happen to find this particular one, and not only, finding the word escape being written somewhere, but what is the likelihood of actually, having it be in the same fucking font? Like that shit is just bananas to me. I mean, look at this. Look at that fucking. Actually, is that backwards? Oh, no, that's not backwards. Okay, good. It looks backwards on my end, but that's because of the mirroring. Okay, but yeah, see how this looks similar to that up there? Yeah, that's. I let me tell you, I was just. I shat my pants. That's how like mind blown I was. I didn't actually. Don't worry. But like that that's crazy to me. Like what are the chance? Like that's just wow. Like oh, I really do live a boring life at that got me off right there. Well, anyway. You know what? It's getting a little cramped in here. Let's move on to some nonfiction, shall we? That was supposed to change the scene. Hold on. Oh, okay, there we go. Hi, welcome to Stelle Orbital, which is a world by Texumin. And in case you didn't catch what that is or know how to spell it, don't worry. I'll post. It's gonna be all in the description. It's gonna be fine. You can see all the worlds I've used in there as usual. So I do give credit where credit is due. And yeah, welcome to this wonderful place. You can see it's very. They're trying to rebuild on a space station, making the best of it. So what are you gonna do, right? But yeah, so I guess we'll just go ahead and take a look and see what we got here. All right, so first there's this. Okay, so good lord. So we're down here. That can't be safe. Like that's like a slide practically. I want to do it again. Anyway, so yeah, so here we are. Suppose we should probably find a cozy place to set up, shall we? Give me just a moment. Let's see if we can make that happen. Boof. No. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, Okay, I gotta kill this music. It is maddening. Alright. Um... Hmm. That's better. Okay. So yes, I think we finally found a lovely place to have ourselves set up here for this particular update. Hi, I'm Mark Dashazol. I probably said that already, but you know what? We're saying it again. Who's we anyway? Me, myself, and I, perhaps? I don't know. But either way, I wanted to do a quick little update here for you folks, because I know it's been a bit. 2024 has been pretty interesting, pretty incredible for just my creative efforts for what I've done. Now, the one thing I have unfortunately missed though is the fact that I haven't really done much in the way of music videos in 2024. Where's the freaking? There we go. And so I kind of want to try to get back into that. The reason for that was that my big focus was trying to get Escape 2 completed and done, which it is. And I'm so proud and happy that I managed to actually bring it to its completion. So I'm quite proud of that. I really like how things came out. Sure, there were some things I look back on. I'm like, I could have done that a little better or whatever. But overall, though, I do adore what it has become. So, so yeah, so that's been a big thing this year. I've made some rant videos on the side as well. I worked on a couple more compilations, which those are more for my more closer audience, not so much for the public eye. But yeah, I realized in the midst of that, I really haven't done any new music videos since Alive, which was the last one I did. Well, what has it been, like 8-9 months now? Probably 9 months at this point. So it's been quite a while since I last touched one. So given that, I do want to work on some new ones. There is going to at least be an 80s style one, so, and this will be 80s throughout, so it's going to be an 80s song. I'm going to try to find some 80s like aesthetics, worlds to use. Hopefully they won't be too difficult, but I might have to improvise or at least find things that are close. So and also do the usual treatment to it as I have done with the Escape series, which is to put it through the VHS process, where I actually record it to a VHS and bring it back again to give it that authentic look and feel. So I will be doing that with that particular music video. I'm surprised, honestly, that I haven't done that already. Like, all the music videos I've done have been using just the normal modern process that I do. So it was just like, wow, considering all the ones I made, I'm surprised that hasn't come up sooner. So we're gonna make it happen. Yeah, we're actually gonna do that. I also want to maybe try doing some experimental ones as well. I'm not gonna talk about too much about what that can imply. It's just gonna be one of those we'll kind of see when it happens sort of thing. So, and as far as like things I want to do for like more like whether it's mini series or maybe a movie of some sort, I'm actually really not too sure. Truth be told, once I finished the second season of Escape, I did kind of leave it a little open-ended to at least allow for the possibility of there being more to add to that if necessary, but at the same time being much more conclusive and a satisfying ending than the first season was, where it left a little too much open and really left a lot of questions unanswered. So I figured, if I do decide to get back to Escape, it probably won't be for a while because I don't really want to overstay its welcome. But at the same time, if I can't think of anything else, I might actually have to return back to it again. And I'm sure so many of you are going to be so mortified by that. Oh God, more escape, whatever will we do? Um, but I guess we'll see. Uh, but even if I wanted to do something more with it now, I don't know where I would go with it, because once I thought of the process as far as plot goes, that it kind of stopped with 2, and I hadn't really thought much further ahead, really. I guess I've had like little just random brainstorming ideas, but nothing really too conclusive that makes me go, ah, yes, I know exactly what we're going to do for the season. It's going to be absolutely marvelous. I can just see it now. Oh, it's just going to be absolutely gorgeous. Just absolutely beautiful, yes. No, I got dig all. But we'll see. We shall see. Never know. Well, yeah, I don't know. But otherwise, I've just been kind of shifting to some other hobbies of mine. So, because truth be told, as much as I enjoy video production, it is, at the end of the day, a pretty small thing of mine. I'm a one-man team. I do everything practically. I don't think a lot of people realize that I do everything myself. I do all the directing, the editing, the filming, the voice acting, all the, looking for worlds, looking for sounds and music to help accompany everything, all the puppeteering that you see, because I don't have any face or eye tracking, so I have to do everything myself, ever so subtly, and do all that nonsense. Although this is not even the full effect. This is just basic gestures, which are easy to do, but I usually get more involved and do the actual axis stuff, where I'm controlling the facial expressions a lot more naturally. Which is the key way that I am able to do a lot of the stuff I do in the works I've done. But yeah, because of that, anything I work on does take time. I don't have a team or anything like that. I even have one other person to help me. Sometimes I do bring on maybe a person for like a certain role or whatever in like the productions I make. The biggest production would have been, still to this day, VR Chat Friday Love, which was 15 of us total. I would love to do another group effort like that, but I would have to try to find some way to coordinate that again, and make it happen, and even, of course, have the idea of something that would work for that kind of thing, too. So it's... Well, we'll see. It's certainly not off the table. I just don't know when it's something I would actually approach. So, yeah, it's, so having not worked on any music videos made it feel a little bit like I didn't do anything, but once I realized how much time I put into the second season of Escape, especially the last episode, so here I was thinking, once I was done with 3, I'm like, okay, you know what? This last episode is probably not going to take that long, or even be as long as the other episodes. It was even longer. How did I manage to go into practically over a half hour for the last episode? I will never know. But it is what it is. But yeah, as I said, I'm just very happy that it's done, and I've really upped my production quite a bit. Speaking of like productions and such, I've kind of recently come across some other people that also do stuff like I do, which are like music videos and such in VR chat, and I gotta say, I'm pretty awestruck with what people have done, and it helps inspire me and realize that there's still a lot more that I have to learn and do to really get to an even higher level where I'm at right now. I'm doing pretty all right. Like I think I've definitely got a good baseline, but there's just so much more I could build on top of that as far as like techniques and a better understanding of DaVinci Resolve, which is the program that I use for editing, and just really learn the ropes with that and such. And I do always try to do a little bit more with each video that I make, just to try to keep exposing myself to some new stuff and whatever. So, but man, I gotta tell you, like, seeing some of the stuff that some other people do, it just fills me with a bit of envy, because I'm just like, oh, I wish I could do something like that, and I'm sure I will. And then like, and then what really got to me was the fact that I also saw like some things people made that are, in my opinion, just shovelware worth of like quality, in that it's literally someone filming their avatar dance to an MMD song in a world, in an MMD world. And I'm like, so you probably put what, like 15 minutes worth of effort into that, thereabouts? Like, it's not that hard to, you know, take your camera and, like, put it in the proper spot, and then, in front of the screen where all the things happen, and then just, oh, I'm gonna put my avatar here, push a button, and just film it dancing for me. And somehow that shit gets thousands of views and a lot of attention, and me, I get like, a few hundred if I'm lucky, and that's if it does really well. So I spend hours, days doing a lot of the productions I do, putting heart and just thought and just love into these things. And I don't get thousands of views. But meanwhile, bitch McTits over here can like pop out a video in 15 minutes, and wow, it's like the greatest thing since sliced bread, which, by the way, sliced bread, really not that great of a thing. It goes stale quicker. Slice that shit up when you're ready for it. And you'll know, because it'll be ready for you too. And it will embrace you in its soft, warm, moist loaf. This got weird real quick. Let's move on. But yeah, so some of the other hobbies I do are, I do PC gaming and board gaming. Board gaming especially is a big thing of mine. We have like a lot of games here, hundreds of them. And there's a lot of varieties that we do, and I host board gaming every Saturday, get folks together. Sometimes I'll do online board gaming and do it that way as well. I'm more than happy to teach games to people and help them understand how everything works and whatnot. And also, I have my work that I do. I have time that I spend on here with friends and whatnot. So, and sometimes I'll just kind of like also look at some other stuff too, just to try to expose myself to the different elements of information and such that's out there. So there's quite a bit that does typically occupy me. Sometimes maybe I'm just chilling, just doing things myself, and not really focus on any particular thing, because that's also important too, is to have just time to yourself as well, and just give yourself the opportunity, just be, just simply be. So yeah, I don't know. This update's probably not gonna be anything too lengthy, which, ooh, wow, yeah, you guys are used to long content for me, and me only putting on an update that's only gonna be like, I don't know, less than a half hour. That's incredible. Although I have done a lot of silly shit in this particular update, just because I feel like I just wanted to kind of dress up, how I do these a little bit more. Not that, like, it's what the actual fuck? You know, there's few moments in life where we can, just have like events like that that just touch us in such a way that we're glad that our colon is functioning the way it should be. Good shit. Maybe that wasn't the best way to word it. Anyway, where were we? Hmm. Uh, I, by the way, that wasn't that surprising me. I've been to this world numerous times, and that's just a space elevator, I think, that goes between the station here and the planet surface. So it's okay. It's normal. It's fine. I appreciate the sound design that went into that, as far as like you can hear like the rattling from like just the vibrations of the thing. Really, really, really nice touch. Yeah, I think it was just it's just Texumin's world, but I don't know if anyone else helped them with this or not, or if it was a solo effort. But either way, like regardless, this and Ring City Stelle are quite great. They have some other worlds too that are pretty interesting to look at. Definitely worth checking out. So, but yeah, as I said earlier, I will note the name and the author of this world so you can check it out for yourself. But they're all kind of like in this interesting, almost shared lore space with Heiko or H. Dorker and their works as well. In fact, you can kind of notice that there's kind of some similar kind of, I guess you could say similar vibes, but I mean, obviously they have their own thing going, but it's kind of unsurprising that there's sort of a bit of overlap at times that happens between their creations. So, yeah, silly folks, great folks though, very, very talented and creative folks. I've kind of talked about this before, where like just stuff like this, worlds that are just drenched in lore and creative expression. I always just feel a level of awe and envy with, because I always wanted to bring some of that myself, like things that are up here, to the world for other people to witness. And that's why video production has become such an important thing for me, for that reason, because it is for the first time one of those like creative outlets that I feel I can actually do that with. And that's why Escape was such an important thing to me, because it finally gives people a glimpse into my lore that I had created over the years, and just to kind of showcase what it's like to be in this universe space in my head, even if it is just a tiny fraction of it. But it's enough to give people an idea of what sort of things I have kind of brought up and built up over time. So I'm just happy that there's something myself that I can show, for what it is. I don't really have the talents or perhaps time or energy to put something together like this, because that would require so much foundational work, understanding of how to build worlds, how to optimize them, knowing what I would even want to build, and so on and so forth. And to be quite frank, even if I did have that knowledge, I wouldn't even know what I could possibly even build anyway. That's not for me. That's for other people. Like the brilliance and likeness of people like this. They obviously know how to do it quite well. So I'm going to leave it up to them to do that. Put myself up here a little bit. There we go. Yeah. Let's see what else. But yeah, 2024 is not just been a great year for my video production efforts, but also just for board gaming in general. Like, there's been quite a few nice, good titles that have come out recently that their gameplay is just exceptional and incredible in their own ways. Just to name a few here, we recently got a hold of actually quite a few that have been really great. That have been released just this past year. The likenesses of SETI. SETI is a kind of a it's one of those games where like it uses cards to do a lot of the stuff, but there's also board presence in where you can launch probes and get them to move around and eventually go into orbit or land on sites, which are pretty much sites within the solar system. And the interesting thing about the board is there's moving parts about it, which are layered on top of one another. So each like ring has an independent rotation to it, which every time you do a certain thing, parts of this board may rotate, which can sometimes be an advantage, or sometimes, if you're not doing it carefully enough, a disadvantage, where it can move your probes around in such a way if you're trying to get to a site. But most importantly, it's resource management a little bit, with a little bit of tableau building in a way, kind of, not really. But that one's been a lot of fun. Really cool theme too. There's also Andromeda's Edge, which has been an incredible worker placement style game. This one's been very interesting because your usual worker placements usually involve you taking worker, pawns or whatever, and placing them on board elements to activate said board elements. And the idea is that you kind of get like a good engine running or some kind of process that allows you to maximize that in such a way that gives you the most points. Well, Andromeda's Edge takes that concept and kind of puts it into almost like a sort of like putting it into a space strategy 4X. So it's not really a 4X for sure, but like it just gives the impression of one just based on how the map looks with the hexagonal tiles and how you're actually like using actual ships for the workers, and you're putting them into different sectors in like Andromeda to do a certain thing. And also in like the usual style of kind of like these strategy games, there's also like contention that can happen when you have ships that go into the same hex tile and such. You have like these battles that happen to see whose ships get destroyed or whose remain behind and whatever. So there's a lot of really cool stuff happening with Andromeda's Edge that makes it kind of feel like an interesting kind of worker placement with a little bit of a splash of like that typical like space kind of almost 4X strategy kind of feel to it a little bit. But again, not by any stretch of the imagination actually doing such, but kind of putting in a little splash of it to kind of make it feel like it almost is. But primarily keeping the worker placement element. So that's pretty cool. Also, there's been Voidfall, which is, speaking of space 4Xs, this is more in line with that. A heavy Euro style game that is all about very deterministic combat and information, with a very cool theme of being at odds with the Voidborn, which are kind of like this corrupted force that's been creeping into the galaxy and kind of taking it over. At least that's been my rough understanding of it. I didn't really look too deeply in the lore, so I apologize if I'm kind of misrepresenting that a little bit, but that's just been like the impression I've gotten from playing it and seeing like the little bits of it. But yeah, there's no luck or anything, not really. In this game, there's no dice rolling for combat. It's very deterministic. You can pretty much see by looking at the combat, is this something I can win? Is it something that's going to result in a tie? Am I going to lose? Whatever, a lot of different houses to play, which are basically the different factions, if you will, that you can play. Just really deep, incredible system where you have a hand of cards that allow you to do various actions. You basically get to play a card on each turn, and you can do 2 of the 3 depicted actions on the card, and there are ways you can do all 3 actions by using what's called a trade token. So That's been a lot of fun too. And the last game that we've really enjoyed is Dragon's Down, which is based on the old Magic Realm game from Avalon Hill, published in 1979. Dragon's Down is taking that concept and making it a lot more digestible compared to how Magic Realm did it, because Magic Realm was such a complex game, but very rich, very deep game. But Dragon's Down takes a lot of what made Magic Realm great and actually condensed it into a much more palatable experience, modernizing it and bringing it into a much more just not as heavy-handed of an experience, but still keeping a lot of that, like I said, that richness that Magic Realm had. So that's been really cool, and a lot of those games have been occupying my time, and there's probably a few others that have been pretty good that I've picked up this year, but those are some of the more noteworthy ones. Yeah, you weren't expecting this to turn into a board game talk, were you? Well, it fucking did, and yeah, you're gonna damn well like it. Or you didn't and you skipped past it, so it's okay. I understand. But yeah, so I guess the only other things I can really think of at the moment is, it's been nice to see my channel kind of grow slowly and steadily. I don't really have very many, followers or anything like that, and honestly, I don't really expect to have, that many, because again, out of principle, I always state that I do a lot of my creations mostly for myself at the end of the day, and if any other people find interest in that and appreciation for what I do, that means the world to me as well, and I really do like it when people do find enjoyment in the creations I make. This is not for profit. This is not for attention. This is not for anything like that. It's just, like I said, a creative expression that I'm happy to have found some root in and be able to exercise that to a degree that is very satisfying for me and something that I enjoy doing. So really, thank you for any of you that have been on this journey with me and have seen me grow over the years of doing this. And I really look forward to seeing what other avenues I can bring for you. And just realizing that, understand that I'm not going to be a content creator that's going to regurgitate out shit that, and that's a problem in of itself. I feel like there's a bunch of content creators out there that will just, take existing stuff that other people have already done or whatever, and literally just add a VR chat splash over it. So, for example, maybe there's a meme out there that's done on TikTok or something like that, or wherever, and they just literally take that video that's based on and just do this, where they just, take their VR chat avatar or world or whatever and just put that right over it. And that just, I don't know, to me that's just, it's not really that creative of an outlet, and like I said, it's just regurgitation of already existing content that's out there, and that to me doesn't really spell much of creativity. Sometimes people may do it in a very creative fashion. At least I can respect that to some degree, but for the most part, it's literally just as I described, and I just don't. No, I would never do something like that. I very much appreciate people that actually put out original, creative, thoughtful content, something that allows them to dig somewhere deep in the psyche and find some very incredible things, even if there's inspirations that were derived. At least they're making the effort to put their own kind of take or spin on it that is distinct to them, and again, not just splashing a coat of paint on it and be like, yeah, I did that. Well, yeah, you did, but you did like 10% of the work. The remaining 90% was based on something that already exists, And I realize sometimes it is hard to come up with, original stuff, but I think that's the point. It's a definite exercise in trying to tap into that aspect and see what you can truly do. And, it doesn't have to be like, I would say, completely original. Like, if it's kind of based on some old idea that someone else has done before, but you kind of put something to it that just resonates with you and really puts your own soul into that. That can be nice too. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It's just the slop of just taking this and then we're done. Yeah, that's not for me. A lot of my works take hours, many hours to put together, even if it's just like a simple music video, because there's a lot that I have to consider with the world, the setting, what things, are any of my characters doing, the lip syncing, the puppeteering, all of that to bring it together into a very, just a nice, a really nice production. So, I just see that and I'm just like, all right, well, you do you, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so I guess we'll see what we can expect from 2025. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be as good as 2024 was as far as production, but I guess I can't say for sure until it happens. I mean, maybe I'll surprise myself and I'll actually come up with some really, really cool stuff, but I'm going to see what I can do for you guys. Again, understand, as a one-man team, I'm not one that's going to put out content after content, daily or weekly or whatever. That's just not what I do. This stuff takes time. I have a lot of other things on my plate besides this. So it's not unusual for me to only come out with something once every month at most. So, speaking of which, it is probably about time I do something pretty soon. So, but the moment will hit me when it hits me. So I guess with that said, that's probably going to be it for now. Thank you very much for watching as always and supporting me and everything that I do. And I look forward to seeing what I can do next for you. So until then, I'll see you next time. Take care.